The evening had folded itself into a quiet that felt almost sacred. The world outside seemed to hold its breath, and inside, the house exhaled in soft whispers. The steady hum of the refrigerator was the only sound. Calm, rhythmic, like a heartbeat pulsing through the silence. The faint scent of lavender drifted from the diffuser on the corner table, merging with the warm golden glow of the lamp beside me. Everything, the walls, the couch, even the open book resting on my lap, was bathed in soft amber light. For the first time in a while, peace didn't feel unreachable. The front door creaked open, slicing through the stillness like a memory I'd tried to bury. I looked up, waiting for the usual clatter of keys on the counter, or the dull thud of shoes by the mat, but no sound came. Ethan stepped inside slowly, his movements heavy with something unseen. At 18, my stepson had grown into the kind of young man who could fill a room without a single word. Tall, quiet, his presence steady, yet always tinged with restlessness. Tonight, though, that quiet strength seemed to have vanished. His hoodie hung loosely off his shoulders, and his hair shadowed half his face. When his eyes finally met mine, they darted away just as quickly. "Hey," he murmured, his voice barely more than a whisper. I closed my book softly. "Hey, Ethan, you okay?" He hesitated, shifting from one foot to the other. Words trembled on his lips, but none found their way out. I gestured to the couch beside me, offering him a seat. He shook his head, sinking instead into the armchair across from me. Elbows on his knees, fingers knotted in his hair. The silence between us grew thick, heavy with things neither of us knew how to say. After what felt like forever, he spoke, his voice low and uncertain. "It's about my girlfriend," he said. "We've been talking about the future, and I don't think I'm ready." Sympathy stirred in my chest, but I kept my voice steady. "That's okay. What's worrying you?" He swallowed hard before answering. I don't want to disappoint her. I don't want to mess things up." His voice cracked at the last word, fragile and uncertain. "Ethan," I said gently, "you don't have to have everything figured out yet. Feeling unsure doesn't mean you're failing. It means you care. The best thing you can do is be honest. Tell her what's really in your heart. The rest will fall into place when it's meant to." He looked down, his jaw tightening. "But what if she pulls away? What if she thinks less of me? Then that's something you'll face together," I replied softly. Real relationships aren't built on perfection. They're built on truth. And the people who truly matter, they stay. Something in his shoulders eased, just barely. A faint, almost hidden smile flickered across his face. "Thanks," he murmured. I smiled back. "You don't need to be perfect, Ethan. You just need to be you." For the first time that night, his eyes lifted and met mine completely. There was a shimmer there. Gratitude, maybe even relief. I didn't push the moment any further. Some things don't need more words. Later that night, as I lay in bed, our conversation replayed in my mind. I thought about the boy who had entered my life years ago. Awkward, uncertain, and how much he'd grown. Yet how delicate that growth still was. Adulthood never arrives all at once. It comes in quiet waves of confusion, fear, and small realizations like this one. Moments when silence speaks louder than words. Over the next few days, though, something in Ethan changed. The usual lightness that followed our talks didn't return. He moved through the house quietly, like a shadow of himself. Meals passed in near silence. His laughter, once loud and contagious, had vanished completely. At first, I told myself it was normal. Teenagers drift through moods the way seasons shift, quietly, without warning. But as the days blurred into weeks, the silence in the house began to feel heavier, almost alive. Ethan started locking his door more often. I'd knock softly sometimes, offering tea, a walk, maybe a movie. He always replied the same way, "I'm fine." But I could hear it in his voice. He wasn't. One evening, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I stood outside his door, my hand hovering above the smooth wood. "Ethan," I called softly. "Can I come in?" A long pause followed, heavy and uncertain. Then came a faint, weary, "Yeah." When I stepped inside, he was lying on his bed, eyes fixed on the ceiling. His fists were clenched, his face pale, and his eyes looked hollow, like all the light had quietly drained from him. The air in the room felt thick, suffocating. I sat on the edge of the bed. "You've been quiet lately," I said gently. "Talk to me." At first he didn't move, then his gaze shifted toward me, red-rimmed and wet. His voice trembled as he whispered, "It's stupid." "It's not stupid," I said softly. "Not if it's hurting you." He took a shaky breath, one that seemed to rattle through his whole body. And then it all came out, the truth, raw and heavy. He told me about his girlfriend, their breakup, and the cruel rumors that followed. The whispers at school, the looks. His words stumbled between sobs and silence, each one tearing a little deeper than the last. When he finally stopped, the room fell still again. But this silence was different, fragile, trembling at the edges. I reached for his arm gently. "Ethan, there's nothing wrong with you. Not one thing," I said. "People can be cruel, but that doesn't make what they say true." His eyes shimmered, voice breaking as he asked, "Then why does it feel like I'm not enough?" My heart ached as I met his gaze. "Because right now you're in pain," I whispered. "But pain doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're alive and you care." I finished softly. "You have strength, Ethan. The kind that doesn't shout but endures." And then the dam broke. His shoulders began to tremble, and he leaned into me, the weight of his pain pressing close. His voice came out muffled, raw and shaking. "Thank you." I didn't know who else to talk to. I wrapped my arms around him, feeling the uneven rhythm of his heartbeat against mine. In that moment, I understood something deeply. Being there for him wasn't about having perfect words or easy answers. It was about presence, about showing him, even in the darkest moments, that he wasn't alone. Outside, the night grew deeper. The faint trace of lavender still hung in the air, though it carried a new meaning now. Less peaceful, more real. Life wasn't quiet or perfect. It was fragile, raw, achingly human. And as I held him there in that dimly lit room, I realized this was what love truly looked like. Not in the grand gestures or loud promises, but in the quiet, steady assurance that no matter how heavy the world became, he would never have to carry it alone.